Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be talking about a very serious matter. A few genetically modified animals that go by Volt and Maggie have been causing terror around the world, attacking poor villages, common civilians, and lots of other things like military stuff. But today we'll be showing you how we will be destroying these creatures with our own custom hybrids, which are perfectly made for killing. Volt and Maggie were last seen at the shore of a small farm in Kentucky. Before we make our killer squad of hybrids, we gotta know what we're up against. First, Volt. Volt has strong talons, which comes from the host eagle. He also has opposable thumbs, which come from the monkey dactyl. He also uses his head like a hammer, which comes from the Algongonoris. Volt has a great base of Thallus adromius, which isn't the fastest pterosaur in the world, but has a pretty strong bite for one. Volt is also a very noisy animal, which he gets from the lyrebird and the gray American parrot, which also gives him his intelligence. The vampire bat is used for iron distribution, which gives iron to the beak, the talons, and the scales. Then there's Maggie, which is basically just a reboot of Zaborans 2's first hybrid, Maddie. Maggie's base is Peregrine Falcon, which gives her speed, but for Maggie to reach her size, she uses the Argentavis, which also gives her acidic vomit. But she's not all brute strength, she gets her intelligence from a common raven. Also very smart animals. Also, she gets her grip strength from the Deinonychus, which is helped from the host eagle talons, and the iron distribution of a vampire. Now that we know what we're here to destroy, how are we going to go about killing these things? My first thought was using a pterosaur longiceps, which also has the teeth of a Songonterops and the skin of a naked mole rat. It didn't work for many reasons. Now me and my team of scientists will be showing you the team of the Most High, and will be ending the suffering that these beasts have burdened upon thousands, and will bring glory to all. I introduce you to Gabriel's arsenal. Here is the star of the show, Jesús. Jesús is a 6-foot tall vampire bat. The vampire bat was picked as the base because of its extreme agility in the air and on the ground. Vampire bats are some of the only bats that can walk. They also have great hearing. Also, like Volt and Maggie, it's used for distributing iron to body parts like the teeth, talons, and multiple other body parts. One of the best reasons we are using the vampire bat is because of echolocation, which will help the vampire bat navigate through dark forests. Jesús also has to go really fast, thanks to the Peregrine Falcon, which helps with aerodynamics and a dive bomb attack. Peregrine Falcons can reach up to 200 miles per hour, which will not affect him because of his size, which can go faster, and the mechanic similarity between bats and birds, which both fly in very similar ways and can tuck in their wings. Also, the Peregrine Falcon's eyes are used, even though they're not the best in the world, but they are a lot better than everyone else's in this contributors. But just because Jesús is fast doesn't mean he doesn't need weapons, like claws and teeth. That's where a Dakota Raptor comes in. They have a very strong bite for being the living embodiment of JP velociraptors, but their dental structure will also be accompanied by the sharp-like knife teeth of a vampire bat. Their grip is very strong because they have the biggest body ratio of a sickle claw than any other dromaeosaur. They also have pack hunting skills because there's been some fossil evidence of that, but he also needs some body armor and other tricks. That's where the Suaterum porcupine comes in, with the quills on the back end, but not too many because we don't want to mess with aerodynamics. In some cases, they can have iron in their teeth from the food that they eat, like iron distributing. We can also make it very toxic. In some cases, these porcupines have been noted to dig holes and build little burrows around them, like forts. So if Jesús gets attacked or hurt, he can build one of these and be camouflaged and protect himself so he can heal. But iron-filled quills will not always protect you. That's where the golden poison dart frog comes, which will give Jesús the touch of the Ark of the Covenant One drop of golden poison dart frog venom can kill 20 men, and certainly some pterosaur and his opossum-resistant bird. Surprisingly, poison dart frogs have really good vision for spotting tiny bugs which are perfectly camouflaged for the region. So that's it. Jesús, the 6 feet tall. Wait a minute. Some of you guys might be wondering how a tiny, puny little few inch tall bat got to be 6 feet tall. Well, that's thanks to the Hatzogopteryx, which is a very big flyer. Can get almost 3 times as tall as the average man. He also has a very strong bite and is very fast, which will give him great stamina and a good pecking maneuver. So now here you go, Jesús. Jesús has a blue belly to match with the sky, which is also on the bottom of his wings. He also has the nose on the top of his head, just for I don't know reasons, and his very iron distributed teeth, which are strengthened by the Dakota Raptor jaws. His ears are really big, which can use for echolocation. He also will climb up walls and then jump off. But in some cases, I think a bat with this much musculature would be able to jump like most pterosaurs into the air. But that's just a theory. But with every Batman, there must be a Robin, or should I say Robins. For these next 2 hybrids, we'll be using the Tarantula Hawk, because it's on every YouTube thumbnail. No, but really, it has a very strong sting, probably the 4th strongest in the world. Also, it is not afraid to fight bigger bullies. They also have really good senses for an insect, but they're not the fastest in the world. That's where the Moaseera comes in, which can grow to be 1 meter long. They also, because they're dragonflies, can fly in multiple other directions, up, down, side to side, wherever you want. Also, dragonflies migrate, typically during breeding season, which will give them a lot of stamina. That's also why they'll be working together, is because these 2 creatures will be mates, which will be very successful. But they also need to have some tricks up their sleeves so they can fend. That's where the bombardier beetle comes in. The bombardier beetle can shoot acidic acid, which is burning hot, which can paralyze any invertebrate and give hot scorches to any vertebrate. These creatures, when they get sprayed, you can see steam come off of them, which is from themselves cooling themselves down, which makes them pause for a little bit. So that will be a kind of a problem in the skies, which will be like a one-use tactic. That's why the brown reclusive, the spit spider, is used. The spit spider has 2 spinnerets, which it can launch about twice its body length, like in this video. If you didn't see that, those could go pretty far, and there's 2 of them which can be covered in poison by the 2 Shelishires that are on the mouthpiece of this spider. That's where the next contributor comes in, the Sydney web funnel spider, which has some of the biggest and sharpest and most potent Shelishiras in the world. These Shelishiras, if stabbed into Volt, will be possibly very potent. So here it is, Ezra and Mozira. As you can see, there are special genes. Mozira has the scaly foot gastropod, which can give iron to all the exoskeleton, which can come in multiple different colors, which gives him his dark purple and his tan. Ezra, on the other hand, uses the Mexican red-kneed tarantula, which gives him irritating hairs that can be launched out at predators like Volt and Maggie, which will affect Volt and Maggie's flying significantly, making it almost hurting to move at all. Ezra and Mozira are very special creatures, with even more interesting anatomy. Their acid-spraying organelles are right underneath their stinger. Their head has the 4 eyes of spiders and very long antennas which can be wrapped to the back of the head to stop drag. Also, when they are hunting, they'll bite first, then sting and spray. When working together, one will distract the prey and then the other one will bite and sting. But this team isn't over. Some of you might be wondering, with Jesús's poison dart frog, how is it going to get any venom? Because poison dart frogs have to eat their poison. That's where the Merlin beetle and their Orididid might come in, because they are both very high in potence. Merlin beetles give poison dart frogs the highest potent in the world. And Orididid mites don't have the strongest, but the organelles inside poison dart frog's skin can increase that to be really venomous. The Eastern Hercules beetle is used as the base with this pseudocidal hybrid because of their size and slow flying, which will be increased by the heavy wings of a postman butterfly, which will collide with the hard shell of the Eastern Hercules beetle. But the Hercules beetle also has something that we don't want, and that is weapons. These weapons will be whittled down by using the Arthropulera, which will also give it a big size. So here it is, Toast. Toast, being the pseudocidal hybrid, has whittled down horns, a very small mouthpiece, which he gets from the butterfly, and giant wings. Now it's time for the fighting. Me and my scientists have made a simulation of the fight, but first, these hybrids will work together because poison dart frogs usually don't go after flying creatures, and they will be really hard to catch, so Jesús will not bother with them. Toast has Arthropulera in him, so Jesús won't get the taste for Meganera and start going after Esra and Mozira. Jesús will be doing typically more of the heavy lifting because Ezra and Mozira will be distracting and just hurting, just getting them to feel a little weaker. So Jesús can take the final hits because he's more heavily armored and faster than Volt and Maggie. Ezra and Mozira will typically not be paying any attention to what Jesús is doing. Here is the simulation. First, Jesús will hear the noise of Volt and Maggie. Then Ezra and Mozira will spot them because they were already there. Then Jesús will fly over. By the time he gets over there, Mozira and Ezra have already attacked. Then the battle would go on with Ezra and Mozira splitting up from Jesús and taking down one at a time. In 2 out of 5 scenarios, me and my scientists have guesstimated that Ezra will probably die, but not all the time because her hair has to be getting really close to attach. Now that we know that Gabriel's arsenal will absolutely destroy Volt and Maggie, it's time for the thing that's in the name of the channel, Speculative Evolution. A few days ago, I did a vote on the channel about how you guys want these animals to evolve, and y'all cannot make up your mind. So I split it down the middle between the Avonpirators and the Indom 2.0. So, after Maggie and Volt were destroyed by Gabriel's arsenal, a Russian company found the genetic code to Volt and started mass producing Volon Malleus, and they've been scattering around the world. In some cases, they've been getting bigger due to the ecological pressures, like in some areas where leftover hybrids from the last hybrid war were left. I give you Dragoon Rex. Dragoon Rex is a new genus of pterosaur. They have some really good adaptations, like the head. The head has teeth-like protrusions on the beak. Also, it has a very aerodynamic crest, so when it hammers its head into its prey, it will go even faster. Also for mating, it has a crest right above its nose and longer eyebrow feathers, which the longer and taller the crest is, the more mates you can have. Another adaptation that they have gained is on their body. In the body, you can see that the wing membranes have been shrunk so they can no longer fly. They also have osteoderms, which have evolved from the fish-like scales that were on them. Also, their fish scales have gone down their legs. Talking about the legs, let's see the adaptations down there. They have stronger opposable thumbs and a sickle claw on one of their thumbs, perfectly made for grabbing into any prey. Also, their wing finger is used so instead of stretching it out to fly, they can stretch it out and stab in so they can have a stronger grip on what they are grabbing onto. After hatching, they typically leave their mother and follow their father. They usually have 1 to 2 eggs. Along with mating, they have some very interesting hunting techniques. The babies will scream and they distract the prey, and then the dad will jump on and get the neck. Also, they make weird noises with their crest, which are hollow. Take a listen. Once they reach sexual maturity, they will leave their fathers and go look for a mate. If they find a mate, they will breed, but if there's another competitor, they will both go to the nearest tree and see who can jump up the highest. Whoever jumps up the highest will get the mate and be able to breed. They also have long-time mates. So Dragoon Rex is a very fascinating creature. So much little data has been able to be grabbed on these guys because of the very dangerous region they live in. In Canada, there has been sightings of some military personnel hybrids, which have been known to be able to fly at night and hunt people, and also go under the water and hunt people. Nowhere is safe. These creatures have been known to disturb ecosystems, and the local Maggie birds have been adapting to these ecological changes, turning into the Aven Siglacnil Borden, or the Canadian bird. The Canadian hawk is a very dangerous creature. They have very weird adaptations, like in the beak. They have vampire bat teeth and very iron-did. They also have closable nostrils so they can breathe underwater. They can also see underwater due to transparent eyelids underneath of their normal eyelids. They also have been documented to reach 350 miles per hour when diving. Also, their wings are much larger than their ancestors, and their tail have flight feathers and swimming feathers, and they can paddle much like a fish. Also, their claws have been longer with the dew claw, and they have webbing feet on them. Also, their legs have grown so much larger that they have deadly kicks that can instantly kill a man or any predator that tries to disturb them. They also have enhanced grip strength. They have been documented to be sitting on low branches in trees, watching out for any hunters. Their diets contain of small deer, small elk, wolves, and hikers. They also will build nests and lay up to 5 eaglets, which are raised by the mother because the male is typically the only male for 10 other Canadian birds. Also, the chicklets have silent flight, much like owls, which when they grow up will turn into wings that are water resistant. The fight between these two animals are very common. Typically, one Canadian bird can kill off all 3 of the Aventors. A typical Canadian bird will split up the 3 Imperadors and go at one at a time. If they can't find the white Imperador, they will jump into the water and they can easily outswim these creatures. And if they can't outswim them, they can outfly them depending on physical peakness. The Canadian bird is a very fascinating creature, but it's so hard to get documentary things on it because they will instantly attack any cameraman. Well, that is about it about these fantastic beasts that have evolved after the Great Skybrid Wars. Stay safe out there and watch out for hybrids. Hello, me again. While making this video, I found out there's another hybrid team called the Ferocious 5, which also have a porcupine vampire bat heptarctrix thing. And I've had this idea since the beginning of Maddie's debut. So that's all I have to say. And my next video is Octopuses on Land. See ya in the next one.